What is going on with the price of fuel currently? I guess everyone understands why fuel's gone up, but a lot of people haven't worked out just how much more it costs to do a regular trip. So I wanted to do a little video just to give some real life examples on how much more it costs to do a regular trip in your car. Now, before we start, everyone is struggling with the price of running a car currently. So this video is kindly brought to you by carperk.co.uk. If you take a look at them, it's an automotive discounts website where you get perks, discounts, benefits on everything from tyres, MOTs, right through to car care, performance upgrades, exterior styling, interior styling, you name it, it's on there. Check out the website. I'll put a link to the description below where you can see all the perks available for their monthly subscription. Now, on to a typical trip, just to see the difference in costs since the prices of petrol have spiraled. As an example, I'm based near Farnborough and we've got grandparents. The kids' grandparents live down in Lymington. So my Range Rover, I'm in the Defender today, but the Range Rover, the one we would normally take down there because it's comfier, is about, I don't know, it does about 25 miles to the gallon. And when diesel used to be £1.35 per litre, £1.35 per litre, which is quite cheap compared to today, the cost for that trip would be around £30, which isn't that bad to get down and see the grandparents. As it is now, it's around £1.80 per litre. So the cost has gone up about £10. It's now £40 for that same trip there and back. So it's not that bad. Obviously 40 quid for a trip, a day trip, it's still quite a bit, but the £10 difference, if we stop and grab a few coffees or, you know, bites for the kids, it's only a tenner, so it's not that, it's not the end of the world. However, let's have a look if we were to apply the same maths to the C63 that I was seriously considering buying not that long ago, and I'm almost glad I didn't now. Obviously, they have a 6.2 litre V8 engine, so they're a little bit more thirsty. I just think if fuel prices continue to keep spiraling out of control, those types of cars, they're going to become almost worthless. You're not going to be able to run them other than as toys around, you know, the local areas. They're going to be so expensive to drive anywhere. So a 6.2 litre V8, on average, you're going to be getting around 14 miles to the gallon. That's 14, not 40. 14 miles to the gallon. At £1.35 a litre for petrol, you're looking at around £50 for that trip. So it's, yeah, quite chunky just to get down. This is from Farnborough to Lymington and back again. That's about 120 miles to put it into context. So £50 for that trip at 1.35. So now we're talking £1.80 a litre, and that trip suddenly jumped up to £70. So all of a sudden it's like, that's pretty expensive, isn't it? Just for a little trip, a day trip down to the South Coast and back. If you hit £2 a litre, which it already is if you're up in London, there's a lot of places where it's £2 a litre, that same trip, 120 miles, is going to cost you 80 quid, £80. If you keep going up, ratcheting up, £2.50 a litre, that would be a £100 trip just to go from Farnborough down to Lymington and back, £100. And this is the stinger. If it ever hits £3 a litre, which it surely won't, but no one ever thought it would hit £2 a litre. If it's £3 a litre, that trip about £116, 116 quid to go and see the grandparents. It's insane. So it's gone from £50, which is still a lot, to £116 for a 120 mile round trip. Just, it can't keep going up. It's not possible. Now, to be fair, not everyone drives around in 6.2 litre V8s today. It would be a nice sounding place, wouldn't it, if everyone's driving around in those types of cars, but it's just not what happens, is it? Most people have got little 2 litre diesels or 1.5 litre diesels or whatever they are these days. So I think it's only right to put it into context that we do that same calculation based on what is a normal car that most people drive, you know, a typical commuter car. So at say £1.35 a litre on a car that does 50 miles per gallon, you're talking £14 for that trip. So that it's not much at all, is it? At £3 a litre, let's just jump straight up to worst case scenario. £3 a litre, it would cost £30 or £32 for the same trip. So it's not an outrageous amount, but it all points to these big engine V8s becoming obsolete. They're just going to be too expensive to run. Even £3 a litre, if you've got something that does 50, 60 miles to the gallon, it's not going to cost you a fortune to do that same trip. I still think the government need to step in and do something. At some point, they've got to reduce taxes or duties or something, because currently over 50% of the price of a litre is going to the government in taxes. A lot of people don't realise, but they also charge VAT on the duties. So in theory, it's a tax on a tax, which I've always disagreed with, and you know, it has to stop at some point. I think, will it? I don't know. Maybe they're just trying to push everyone into EVs. But then what's going to happen? The rebates on electric cars is going to disappear. Price for electric is going to continue going up. So something has to give at some point. I've actually tasked my 8-year-old son with coming up with a solution, because it's going to be his generation that goes through this massive change over to EVs or whatever it's going to be. I personally don't think electric is the answer until charges are massively widespread and fast, so you can literally just pull up and charge in a similar time to what it takes you to put petrol or diesel in the car, and that they're widespread enough that you can literally pull up anywhere. I can't see electric being fully adopted. The guy from Petrol Hedonism, he made me chuckle. He broke down in his Tesla. Quite recently, he did the search on the map to find the most local supercharger. It took him to someone's home. So he had to plead with this lady to sit in her front garden with the supercharger running. Obviously paid her some money, whilst he waited for an hour until he had enough juice to get to the next supercharger, which didn't work out. He broke down. He had to wait for the AA to come and pick him up in a big petrol-powered or diesel-powered truck. So it's not the answer. There has to be something. I don't know, biofuel, hydrogen. That's definitely going to be something for the next generation to solve, surely. But that was it. Just a little video to do a few calculations, just to really put it into context what it actually costs you and your wallet, what it costs you to do a trip in various size engined cars. Even at £3 a litre, I don't think it would matter enough to me to sell the likes of the Range Rover, because we don't do many miles. The MOT on that, it showed we did 3,000 miles in the last 12 months. So the cost of changing the car, it's not going to depreciate anymore. It's an old car. The cost of changing to something new, I'm going to lose more money doing that. And there's an argument that by using older cars for longer, you're not really doing a massive carbon footprint with them, especially if you don't do many miles. Whereas if you're buying new cars all the time, or you're buying electric cars, the cost of getting the batteries over from China or wherever. In fact, I'm not even going to go into it, because I don't like electric cars. I've never liked electric cars. I'm stubborn like that. Maybe one day I will when I'm forced into it, but until then, I'm not going to preach. So that is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit the thumbs up, drop a comment, let me know your thoughts on the cost of fuel currently. Please subscribe if you're new to the channel, and definitely check out carperk.co.uk. See you soon.